I was in the Johnnie Walker archive on Monday actually, and there I could see the originals, and it's a close replica, faintly pale blue, very attractive label on the slant, the classic Walker slant. And when it was launched, I was involved in trying to write it up, and I spent an entire day in the Scotsman Hotel with Jim Beveridge, the master blender, trying to find the perfect serve and trying to get an angle, because I kept saying to him, how can you justify this price, when it's got it hasn't got an age statement.
For a blended Scotch, it was unprecedented as well.
It was. But anyway, it worked, and we discovered the perfect serve. The perfect serve, by the way, is to the way I do it is to put a bit of ice in my mouth and then sip it straight. Okay. And it's absolutely unbelievable. It's like velvet. Yeah. And Jim discovered that. I was behind, there was a wee bar in the room that we were in, and and he was sitting at the table, and our palates were kind of getting tired. We were trying different glasses and different styles of one sort or another, and then he had a sip of the water from the ice bucket. And I was round behind the bar doing the same thing, getting some water from the thing, and he gave a little squeak and said, "Charlie, I think I've got it." And then we tried it again, and it just works perfectly.
Interesting.
So that's the way to do it.
Perfect. And in terms of its sort of recipe, of the components that are going into Blue Label, it's, you'd hope it's sort of older, rarer whiskies. Is it?
That's what Jim kept saying. Yeah. He justified it by saying it has some very old and very rare whiskies in the mix.
Yeah. I mean, they have such an amazing stock. They have 29 malt distilleries. Diageo really controls such a large share of the market now. When I think of Blue Label, I think about seeing it in every corner of the globe. It really is something you see in every duty free. You see it all over the world, and mixed drinks now. People having it neat. Again, a lot of people watching might be single malt drinkers, might not drink much blended whiskey. But if you want to try a kind of very high end blended whiskey, this really established itself as the option. Going back to, I'm an Ayrshireman. It's one of those things. It started obviously in a grocer's in Kilmarnock, so it's something that has been really important for Scotland. And the story of Johnnie Walker has reached every corner of the globe.
It has.
So probably been a whiskey that's introduced a lot of people into Scotch whiskey all over the world. So quite interesting. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've had it.
The iconic striding man who's not on here. But which is recognisable globally.
Yeah. I think Blue Label is fascinating because obviously it's just one product, but it's almost burgeoned into a brand in its own right, and we see so many variations of it. So you'll have the Mexico City edition, the Chinese New Year 2022 edition, Ryder Cup edition. People love Blue Label, and they can't get enough of it.
I think it's important to state it's incredible they're able to create such a consistent product. The beauty in single malt is, of course, that they are all unique and they have really interesting distillery characteristics. I was recently speaking to Emma Walker, who's the new master blender, and it's one of those things, she's taken over from the legendary Jim Beveridge, as you mentioned, and she still has to appease and please the people who've been drinking Blue Label since it was released. So it's an amazing feat, vatting hundreds, maybe thousands of casks together and being able to create this product.
It is truly remarkable.
It's much easier to bottle single cans.
Let's get it open. Let's see what we think.
Let's do it. I think I'm a bit like you, Ross. It's been a long time since I've tried this. I remember being...
Yeah, you pull it. If you pull it.
Can you get it?
This is a premium product.
And that's quite a cool touch, that actually.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I was at a tasting recently with Adam, who is the brand ambassador for Blue Label, global brand ambassador, and it was releasing a new product using some kind of Japanese oak in one of these spin-off that you were talking about, Laurie. But it was the first time I'd had Blue Label neat for quite some time, and I remember it being slightly peatier than I remember. So I'm looking forward to this. See what we all think.
It's got a kind of reassuring weight to the bottle as well.
Yeah, it looks larger than a 70cl, really.
It does. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And in terms of its character, is there any... Obviously, I imagine it's not going to be as smoky as Black Label, but is it going to be like a more delicate smoke?
Again, you've got to look at the market they're going for. We are thinking it's going to have a little bit of everything. It's trying to create a balanced and easy drinking product. Bottled at 40%, it should be very easy drinking. It's one of those things, even with premium blended whiskey, I think the desire is that it should be approachable. It's just a slightly more expensive approachable, I suppose.
Absolutely.
It's very nicely rounded, the nose.
The nose.
Soft, gentle, rounded. And quite fragrant, do you know, the floral, fruity. I'm not getting much peat,
No,
which
me
is a
neither.
sort of hallmark.
No,
of
I
Walker.
think it's sweet on the nose. A little bit of chocolate as well, certainly.
Yeah, it's quite delicate and elegant.
Tasty. Elegant's the right word. Orange peel, possibly.
Let's give it a go,
Very
gentlemen.
enticing one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A pleasure.
First of the day. But not the last.
The texture is lovely. Really, really satisfying.
Nice creamy texture. Bit of spice in the finish, sweetish. I'm getting that chocolate, milk chocolate,
Okay.
in mid palate. Quite spicy finish.
Yeah, almost like cinnamon bark.
Could be.
You know, it's a kind of baking spices. Again, very little peat, really, I suppose. Maybe
none at
slightly
all,
towards the end, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Much nicer finish than I would have anticipated for 40%.
Yeah.
I think as soon as we see that, we said before, let's get to your back up.
Yeah.
It's just going to taste very
we
wet.
speak about quite a lot because we're so used to drinking cask strength whiskey, and sometimes you feel like you're missing something at 40%, but this still has lots of flavour.
It's got a lot of character, hasn't it? It really has. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I tried this, it was quite early on in my whiskey journey, and I sort of approached it as sort of a single malt drinker. At that point, I was like, this is a 250 pound bottle. This should blow my socks off, and it wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
And I think with age, as I've kind of matured, I think actually blends are separate experience to single malts. And it's all about the balance and bringing together these elements, kind of maintaining that harmony, and it's a lot better than I remember. Really
It is much lighter, more elegant, as both you gentlemen said, than I remember.
Very pleasant.
Yeah, a lovely dram, an iconic presentation. It's something that anybody, even remotely involved in whiskey can spot from the other side of a whiskey bar.
Yeah, people know Johnnie Walker before they know whiskey. It really is that iconic. So
Yeah, do you think it's worth the money from a purely taste perspective?
yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm an Ayrshire, so I'm quite tight-fisted.
You are.
Those things. I think for an experience, again, you're looking at people going to business meetings in New York. They're giving people Johnnie Walker Blue Labels as almost business gifts, as transactional, because it's so recognisable. I think in circumstances, it is quite expensive for a blended whiskey when you compare the quality of things like Black Label.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing that would maybe slightly let it down, is that the core range or the kind of lower levels of Johnnie Walker are so good.
Yeah, I think you have to look at this and
Almost
sort
in
of
isolation.
conclude it's more than 70 cl of liquid.
Yeah.
And I think people love having a bottle of Blue Label. They love gifting a bottle of Blue
Having
Label.
it on your back bar and meeting new people, they go, wow, you've got Johnnie Walker Blue Label. I think all over the world it's recognised as a kind of premium.
Yeah, in the same way as a Rolex watch.
Yeah.
It's there's a premium because
Yeah.
it's that prestige.
Totally.
But it's an excellent product, beautiful blend,
Yeah.
and
Very easy to drink, as
Yeah.
I've experienced that. Yeah, well, I think we're going to have a look at Black Label in a moment. But it's very, very easy to just slips down.
A pleasure to try it, gentlemen.
yeah, really, really good. And wouldn't say a surprise, but good to know that it's not terrible.
I think it's,
I really like it.
I think it's it's
I think that's damning with fate.
I think it's shown us it actually is a very good product, and I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.